Hey guys, Barrett here. Welcome back to another video. Today, I'm going to talk to you about 3 critical mistakes you're probably making with your third shot drop. Let's do it. All right, the third shot drop, the holy grail of all pickleball shots. Now, you've probably heard that the third shot drop is quite difficult to do and it's hard to learn and so on, and that's true. However, there are 3 really critical things here that's keeping you from getting to that point where you're starting to become comfortable with it. And that's what I'm going to talk to you about with today. So let's start with the first one. Okay, the first mistake we're talking about here is not paying attention to your opponent. So whenever we serve the ball over, oftentimes the opponent, especially at a high level, is going to try to do something with the shot, maybe like a slice or maybe some really tough like topspin stuff, that's going to make your third shot drop harder. Oftentimes when we talk about shot selection has a lot to do with what our opponent is giving us. So if our opponent gives us a lot of backspin or a lot of topspin or something, that's going to change how I approach my next shot. So we need to pay attention to what our opponent is doing, okay? So if I just serve skinny over here, okay, now I'm not sure if you're able to see that clearly, but she did a nice little backhand slice. And whenever you get a slice like that, what happens is that the ball is spinning. It's spinning kind of backwards this way, okay? So when it hits your paddle, what is it gonna do? It's gonna bounce downward. So all of a sudden, if the return has a lot of backspin on it, then I have to try to lift the ball up, because the ball is naturally going to bounce down. See how that works? So if you want to really improve your third shot drops, you have to pay attention to what your opponent is putting on the ball. That's the basis of it, okay? Let's move on to number 2. Now the next 2 critical mistakes here kind of have to do with one another, but let's start with the first one, which is too much acceleration. So when we talk about acceleration, if I were just swinging through here nice and slowly, okay, there's really not much acceleration in this swing because it's nice and slow. However, if I did something like this, like that, I'm accelerating through the ball. You see how I start slow, but then I speed up? That's what we mean by acceleration, okay? Now, the thing about accelerating through a third shot drop, remember, this is a traditional one. I'm actually covering all of the many variations of them in my online courses, which are coming out in a few months. But for now, we're just talking about the regular old drop shot. You really don't want to accelerate too much through the ball, okay? So it's just gonna be a nice, smooth swing. I like to hinge my wrist just a little bit and just come through nice and easy. There's no acceleration. And literally, this is how I swing at it. It's exactly what you're seeing right here. No acceleration, there's no or anything like that, okay? Nice acceleration, push your wrist forward just a little bit and just come through nice and easy. The thing that happens a lot is when people try to put too much on the ball, when they try to accelerate, too much, what happens is it leads to a lot of inconsistency, and oftentimes it leads to a kind of like a half drive or a kind of third shot that's not a drive and not a drop, and it just kind of hits right here on your opponent, and then they're able to just kind of flick it back over. Especially at a higher level, people are going to do stuff with that kind of shot. So try not to accelerate through the ball too much. Just nice and easy. Don't force it too much. Now, the third mistake, and by far the worst, and this is the big one. This is what leads to this horrible death cycle that happens with the third shot drop, is people are terrified, understandably, of hitting the third shot drop too hard because it leads to that fourth smash, okay? So what happens is if I were to get a return coming over here, I'll do something like this to where I'll stop short, right? If I'm really scared of hitting it too high, I'll stop short. But what happens? Because I'm not swinging through the ball, my paddle face isn't closing down naturally. So what happens is when I stop short like this, look, the paddle face is wide open, and that leads to a higher ball flight. It gets more carry, and that's where the smash comes from. Then you think to yourself, oh, wait, so I hit the ball too high, right? So that means I need to stop short even more and take even a smaller swing. And then you do that, take even a smaller swing, and it goes even higher. And it becomes this horrible cycle that feeds on itself. And the solution to that, believe it or not, is to actually swing all the way through the shot and to have a follow through all the way up. So again, no acceleration, swing all the way through and all the way up. Follow through. That follow through is what's going to help to close your face down so that it's not pointing directly up into the air. And that's what gets the ball to go low. And I know that seems counterintuitive, right? Because you're thinking to yourself, wait a minute, if I swing shorter, then that leads to less power, right? It's not necessarily true. It's how the face is open. That's what really matters with that kind of error. Okay, so let me show you a couple of these things. I'm going to put you behind me so you can see for yourself. So again, what I'm going to be working on here is swinging real smoothly through the ball and making sure that I follow through. Did you notice how I just smoothly swung through and I followed through? That's why that shot went so low. Just quite nice, quite fun. Boy, that was a pretty one. I tell you, look, I make mistakes on the drops all the time. Are you serious? Okay, but when you really get this and you swing smoothly through the ball and you follow through, it is such a good feeling. And I've been so pumped to make this video, so I really hope that you'll try it. Now keep in mind, as I do this little drill here, a lot of my drop shots are bouncing a little too high. Typically I wouldn't hit them straight forward, I would actually go cross court, but this is just for demonstration purposes. So again, when I get this return, swing smoothly through it, don't accelerate through it, and follow through. In reality, it's all about the confidence. It's the confidence to swing through the ball. Even though that feels awkward, even though it feels wrong, it's really gonna help out a lot. Alright guys, I hope that was helpful. I recorded my outro out on the courts, but there was no audio. So, hey, mistakes happen, just like the third shot drop. Those are just some tips on how to improve your third shot. You know, you gotta be careful with that follow through, man. I mean, really, it's a big deal. If you don't follow through and you try to swing shorter and shorter each time, it's just gonna get worse and worse and worse. So I hope that was helpful. Thank you guys for stopping by. You can go to pickleballkitchen.com for a bunch of stuff. Got articles and podcasts on there and so on. Thank you guys so much for joining me. And as usual, I'll see you next time.